Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Before we continue on, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment on my videos, as well as hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I come out with new videos. Now, this is my second entry into my video diary series. We are starting, technically, this is nighttime here in Vietnam. It's 29 hours on June 24th, 2023, and it'll probably end after midnight, which for the audiences overseas will be about a 12-hour difference. So, yeah, because most of the clients, people that watch my videos come from overseas, some come from Vietnam. I got people from all over the world watching my videos. So, we're going to move on. So, I forgot to mention the other day about how I went to the local market. This was, I think, 2 days ago, if I remember rightly. So I go to the market that's near my house and I go ahead and get two boxes of duck eggs. Now in America, eggs are normally sold in packs of 12. Here in Vietnam, they're sold in packs of 10, which for the metric system is actually, it makes sense. But in America, they're sold in packs of 12. Anyways, so I know for a fact that chicken eggs are normally around 25,000 dong, which is about $1 for a set of 10, and duck eggs are about 35,000 dong for a set of 10. But this lady at the market charged me 45,000 dong, which is 10,000 dong extra for eggs that were already about 3 or 4 days old already when I purchased them. That's called foreigner tax. They see me, they say, oh, well, he's going to pay more because he's a foreigner. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So I set out with 300,000 dong that morning, which is about, let's see, 4, 8, 12, about 12 bucks, thereabouts US. If you think that one US dollar is about 25,000 dong. Now I know it varies between 23 and 24,000 dong per US dollar, but I say 25,000 dong anyways because that's just how I see it. And it's easier for math. So I set out with about 12 bucks that day to go ahead and get some food for breakfast. So I go and I get overcharged twice for the duck eggs because I was expecting 35,000 dong, ended up paying 45,000 dong each. So I got overcharged 20,000 dong, which is, around 1 US dollar. And then after that, I go buy a kilo, which is 2.2 pounds of peanuts, and a kilo again, which is 2.2 pounds of small bell peppers, and got charged another 100,000 dong. So I'm already, 190,000 dong down. So I go to the bakery to get 12 banh mi rolls, which is like they call the little, Vietnamese shaped bread banh mi, and it's actually really, really good. The thing is, though, with the banh mi they make here, it's made fresh every single morning. You're never going to find old bread unless it's at the end of the day. That's the reason why here in Vietnam, if you want to go ahead and get banh mi, you get it right as the bakery is opening, like 5 a.m. That's the best time to get bread. So I go ahead and get bread from this other bakery, not the one I normally go to, and I ask for 12 rolls and a big, like, potato bread thing. It's actually really good, and I know it's potato bread because it's yellow, and it has a little bit of a different taste to it. So I go ahead and get that, and I end up spending another 100,000 dong. So 290,000 dong down on breakfast that shouldn't have cost that much. Now, I'm pretty sure that a kilo each of the peanuts and the bell peppers shouldn't cost that much, but I am pretty sure that I got overcharged for that. And that's one of the things that a lot of foreigners here in Vietnam don't realize is that, yes, you will be overcharged for things like that because dumb foreigner and foreigner tax. That's what it is. So, my advice to all the foreigners out there that are watching this video is that if you come to Vietnam, make sure you go ahead and have Vietnamese friends with you when you go to the market, unless you're brave enough like me and you want to go on your own. Now, I don't know a lot of Vietnamese. I only know a little bit, which, it's enough for me to get through. I mean, I know how to say, to be polite. I know how to, mention my address, my telephone number. I know how to give basic commands in class because I used to be an English teacher. And I also know how to say what I want or don't want on certain things. So, I've been living here almost 5 years, and I know just enough Vietnamese to say that. Now, as I've said in my previous videos, I have a bit of a learning deficiency. It takes me a little bit longer to learn things than most people, but once I do, it's set in stone. I don't forget it. Now, let's see, what else am I talking about besides all that? Oh, yeah, in the last video, you went and saw these. Now, these are made out of brass, pure brass. At least I hope so, anyways. And the reason why I have them is for two reasons. One of which is the fact that these brass rings are supposed to go ahead and either help ward off evil or leech off the negative energy that a person produces. Either way, I find them useful because I produce negative energy in abundance. And if I could have something that would sap that negative energy, that would actually make me a better person. The other thing with these brass rings is that there's an old saying, you want the brass ring, you want the best of the best. Now, see, brass ring can also indicate wealth, last time I checked. Now, with these brass rings, these are bracelets, but with the brass rings themselves, if you go for the brass ring, that means you're going for the best. To me, it's more symbolism than anything else. That's the reason why I wear them. And as a man, I have no problem wearing bracelets because to me, it's more of a unisex thing. Either men or women can wear them. Now, that previous statement may offend a few people, but honestly, I don't care because I side with science and facts. And my point is very simple, is that there are only two genders, male and female. That's it. In the animal kingdom, there are only two genders, male and female. With electrical connectors, there are only two genders, male and female. That's it. With chromosomes, there's only two genders, XX and XY. If you're a woman, you have XX. If you're a man, you have XY. That's it. And that's about all I'm going to say about that because, I'm pretty sure this video might get striked because I say that there's only two genders. Now, to go ahead and get into that topic a little bit more, since, I've already started talking about it, is the fact that I do support the LGBT community. I do. However, I do not support groomers. I do not support drag queen story hour. I don't support that. I do not support indoctrination of kids. Let kids be kids. That's my point. Now, people are like, well, what about this? What about that? And I go, well, here's the thing. A kid that's 4 years old cannot make the decision that they are a different gender. Okay? Once the kid reaches 18, then they can do to their bodies what they please. But before they're 18, it should be illegal. Now, people are like, well, what about, gender affirming care for trans kids? There's no such thing as trans kids. I said it. There is no such thing as trans kids. There is, however, Munchausen by proxy, which for anyone that's ever heard of that is a mental condition that's caused by parents who want to seek attention. And they want to get social media clout by saying that they have trans kids and this and that. Look at some celebrities. Now, I'm not going to name these celebrities because, frankly, I can't quite remember their names. But I do know that there's at least one celebrity that is touting her 3 kids, saying they're trans, even though I'm pretty sure they're not. See, here in Vietnam, there is an LGBT movement, and there have been a lot of strides made for the LGBT community. Recently, the law on marriage and family has actually been amended to allow for LGBT couples and recognition of same-sex marriages. The thing is, though, the government will not allow the 300,000 plus different genders and neo-pronouns and all that other garbage that's going on in the United States. They're not going to allow that. They only recognize male and female. That's it. Now, if someone is male to female transgender, they will be recognized as their gender that they chose, but only after it is certified that that person is transgender, either pre-op or post-op, doesn't matter. Now, some rumors, and what I'm saying next is a rumor, some rumors say that the government will not recognize a transgender person until they've had surgery. either mastectomy, phalloplasty, or anything like that. So if they've already had the surgery, then they'll be recognized by the government. Again, it's a rumor, not really sure. I heard it was both pre-op and post-op, but that's just me. But the thing is, though, is that there are a lot more, there's a lot more left to go for the LGBT movement here in Vietnam. What else? So in the United States, I've been, looking at a lot of the news, and I see that a lot of the news back when I left isn't so much news anymore, such as BLM and Antifa. BLM and Antifa haven't been in the news that much because really there's nothing left. BLM is a scam perpetrated by people who wanted to make money off of the suffering of those who were unjustly murdered by the police. Now, as far as BLM and the whole, hating cops movement goes, my view on that is pretty simple. One, police are necessary because of the fact without police, there'd be complete chaos. Beyond that, those that hate police will call the police if they have problems with their neighbors. They're not going to call a junkie or a crackhead or anything else. They're going to call the cops. Now, I will say that not all cops are good people. There are a few bad apples out there, and I do acknowledge that. But by and large, police officers are very much needed, and they are very much appreciated for the fact that they save lives and they help keep order. Now, flip side of that coin. There are some people that are actual victims of police brutality, and I do agree with that. I also say that there are some idiots out there who are doing exactly what they can to make the police look bad. For example, when the police officer says step out of your car, that's Penn versus Mims. Penn v. Mims. If a police officer asks you or tells you to step out of your car, you must do it. That's the law. Now, there are some states that are stop and ID. There are some that aren't. However, I consider it a reasonable request that if the police officer caught you committing a crime or has reasonable suspicion that you have committed a crime, then yes, they can ask you for your ID and you must give it to them. If you don't, then you will go ahead and get in trouble later on. There are some people out there called the auditors who like to audit, First Amendment and stuff like that, or they like to harass people in public and expect not to get in trouble for it. Technically, in some places, yes, you can record because there is no reasonable expectation of privacy on public property. However, that stops when you trespass on a private property. And I've seen a few auditor videos just like that where the auditor actually got arrested and charged because they were not on public property and or filming very sensitive locations that they shouldn't have. Oh, let's see, what else? So, besides BLM, which, by the way, as far as BLM goes, from my point of view, obviously I do not support them because it's just a racket. You notice that the founders of BLM bought homes in affluent neighborhoods where the vast majority of residents are not black. And not one single dollar from BLM has ever gone to help African American people in the inner city, has not sent one single dollar to the family of George Floyd, has not sent a single dollar to Ahmaud Arbery or any of the other ones, Michael Brown. They haven't sent a single dollar to any one of them. They profit off the misery and suffering of people. That's all it is. For Antifa, the problem with Antifa is the fact that they like to cause chaos for the sake of causing chaos. They've become the very thing that they swear up and down that they want to destroy. They are the fascists, plain and simple. Because if you don't agree with them, you die. Pretty simple. I've seen a lot of videos where Antifa likes to gang up like 20 on one and basically kill them because they are not a part of the group and they want to hold a small sign that says, get out of my town, stuff like that, and person gets murdered because of it. And then there's also Portland with Chop, Chaz, whatever, you want to call it Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone or whatever. And yeah, that shouldn't have happened either. because of the fact that to actually do that, it's called insurrection, and that's something that's punishable by a very lengthy prison term. But yet, they got let out and released, and that's the reason why Antifa is still causing problems today, because nobody cares. Look at San Francisco. San Francisco, businesses can't even have shops anymore because people just walk in and steal stuff. Nobody cares. If it's a misdemeanor, nobody cares. See, California is going down the toilet because of the fact that the policies and laws there are too loose. They're too loose. And just to let everyone know, what I'm drinking today is a green tea from Taiwan province. Good stuff. Now, the way I like my green tea is that it looks like alcoholic urine, very dark yellow. And this green tea, it's good for at least 3 rounds. The pot that I use looks like this. As you can see, it's a very good size. I would say maybe about 500 milliliters. So in America, for those in America, think about maybe 2 cans of soda pop. Well, that's about 710 milliliters. But yeah, 355 milliliters times 2, 710 milliliters, maybe about that much. But that's about it. Let's see. Oh yeah, today I put on my wedding ring so I could go out. My finger is too fat for my wedding ring, so I wore my Buddhist ring instead. Now, me myself, I am not Buddhist. My wife is. But I will go to temples and light incense and stuff like that and being respectful and everything else. Excuse me. Now, here's the thing. One of the things I wanted to talk about is the fact that a lot of people confuse the Buddhist symbols with the Nazi swastika. That's not true at all. That symbol, the hooked cross, has actually been around, or in German, I think it's called the Hakenkreuz. It's actually been around for millennia, thousands and thousands of years, way before Nazi Germany ever came along. Now, see, the thing is, though, is the fact that with the regular hooked cross, it sits like this, nice and square. The one from Nazi Germany is tilted on its head like this. That's the difference. That's the only difference you need to concern yourselves with. That's the reason why people confuse this with this, and that's the reason why on Google Maps, instead of having the hooked cross, now they have the Buddhist wheel of life instead, because the hooked cross is too offensive to some people. Here's the thing. If you are not from Asia, if you're not from India, where these symbols are very prevalent, you have no business even commenting on it at all. Here's the other thing. I will freely acknowledge and admit to everyone here, and I'm looking you directly in the eye, the fact that yes, the Holocaust did happen, and yes, over 6 million people lost their lives due to the Nazi war machine. I will freely admit that to anyone and everyone who's watching this video. And yes, what happened was a terrible tragedy and a terrible loss of life. And I'm also happy to say that most of the people that perpetrated those crimes are long dead. There are very few actual Nazis left alive. Most of them are in their 80s and 90s. They can't do anything anymore. The famous Nazi hunters, there's nothing left for them to hunt because they're all dead. So what I'm trying to say about that is the fact that you should not equate something that happened 70, 80 years ago to something that happened thousands and thousands of years ago. The two are not the same. This does not equal this. All right. Now I have a Buddhist ring, and I also have a symbol of the regular hooked cross that's like this, that has the Bodhisattva Guanyin on one side and 8 coins on the other side. Very, very clearly Buddhist. Now, someday when I take my family to the United States to visit, I will have these symbols prominently displayed. I'm not going to shove them in people's faces, but they will be easily visible. And if people want to go ahead and come up to me and call me a Nazi fascist, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right to your face, if you don't know the difference between a Buddhist symbol and a Nazi symbol, you need to go back to school. Plain and simple. I am not afraid of having these symbols out in public because of the fact that people need to be educated about what's appropriate and what's not. Now, people are like, well, if you wear that, that means you must support Nazism. No, no, that's not it. I support Buddhism because my wife and her family are Buddhists. That's the reason why I wear those symbols. Now, I can tell you back when I taught school, the fact that a lot of kids here in Vietnam are glorifying Nazi Germany. I am not joking, they really are. They give the Hitler salute, they draw the, tipped, hooked cross, they go ahead and draw all of that, and they think it's funny. Now, see, here's a problem. Fascism and communism don't mix at all. That's the reason why I told the kids when I saw that, tilted hooked cross drawn on the blackboard, I told the kids through the help of the TA that I find out who did that, they get reported to the local party office because that's anti-communist. And we live in a pro-communist country. That's one of the things that a lot of foreigners don't get when they come here to Vietnam is the fact that you're moving to a pro-communist, pro-socialist country. The fact that the rights and freedoms you may have enjoyed in your home country may not apply here if they are in contravention to state law. That's the thing. See, when the government tells you to wear a mask, you will wear a mask or else you won't go outside. Just like during the COVID pandemic, you must wear a mask or else you get fined 200,000 dong, which is about 8 USD. And repeated violations means you go to jail. There's also a law here, Article 240, Clause 1, Subclause C of the 2015 Penal Code that states that you can go ahead and receive a fine or jail time for essentially distributing diseases through other means and not wearing a mask, coughing and open mouth coughing and hacking all over everything. Yeah, that qualifies as spreading diseases through other means. And people can actually get jail time if they kill people. Let's see right there. All right. So here's the thing with the jail time itself. If you go ahead and I think if it's murder of one person through disease, you get 5 to 10 years. If it's 2 or more people, you get 10 to 12 years. And of course, you'll be fined and barred from holding certain positions from 1 to 5 years, stuff like that. Now, see, a lot of foreigners that live here in Vietnam, as I said in my previous videos, they don't want to wear a mask. They don't want to get vaccines. They think their rights and freedoms, their vanity, their personal comfort means more to them than the health and safety of the students that they teach. That's the reason why not a lot of people are too excited about the coalition and the fact that the coalition requires its members to wear a mask and get vaccines. Because that's actually a requirement of the government. As of now, last I checked, you are required to have at least 2 shots of the vaccine for COVID, as well as wear a mask when you're teaching students. But yet, nobody does that, nobody enforces it, nobody cares. It's just downright terrible. Ugh. Let's see, what else might I want to talk about? 23 minutes already, sweet. Now, see, this will be broadcast in 1080p, so this means it's probably going to take about an hour for this thing to upload. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and figure that out, because I know it's going to take at least an hour to upload, because it's 1080p, so, yeah. Oh, man, it's some good stuff. So here's the other thing about, coffee and tea and stuff like that. Here in Vietnam, everything is grown, like coffee, tea, stuff like that. And the coffee here is fantastic. I can get a cup of coffee from, Witten's Coffee, because I know you may or may not have seen the plugs or advertisements that I've done for Witten's Coffee, but there's only one coffee shop that I actually want to go to and spend my money at. And that's the coffee shop that's literally less than 50 meters away from my house. They know me, I know them. I simply walk up, tell them what I want, and they get it for me. It's that simple. And it's only 10,000 dong a cup. You can go ahead and get like 2 cups of coffee for less than $1. And because it's 10,000 dong per cup. Now, if you wanted 2 cups of the coffee with milk in it, that's about the same price. It's only 4,000 dong more, still about $1. So you get 2 cups of coffee for $1. Now, that's a better deal than McDonald's, because McDonald's coffee is, well, I haven't had it in a while, but I know it's not good. Not only that, but the fact that it's not fresh, because Here in Vietnam, everything is grown fresh, roasted fresh, ground fresh, brewed fresh. So you can taste that flavor. Not to mention the espresso, the Robusta beans that are grown here, they're really, really good. Better than Starbucks. Yeah, better than Starbucks. Um, what else? As far as food goes, as I've said in my previous videos, the food here is fantastic. It's amazing. Everything here is fresh. See, you can go down to the local wet markets and get literally everything you need for the day. But to do that, you would have to go there very early, like about 4 or 5 a.m. when they start opening up. So this way you can go ahead and get the best food, the freshest food, before anybody else gets there. The later on in the day you go, the more chance you have of getting food poisoning from food that's been sitting out too long. See, here's the thing. When you slaughter an animal, you only have so long to go ahead and get that meat either to a freezer, refrigerator, or sell it fresh. You only have so much time, like maybe a couple hours, 2-3 hours or so, if that. Any longer than that, it's going to go bad and you're not going to be able to eat it. Now, a lot of these wet markets aren't exactly regulated because it's basically farm to table. Now, I know that if anybody gets sick because of, outbreaks of, animals, zoonotic diseases, stuff like that, that they will do an investigation, of course. But most of the time, people are left alone. What else? What else? Well, for right now, as I mentioned earlier, I am still broadcasting in the altar room, which reminds me, I don't think I've ever shown you guys the altar room in detail. Let's go ahead and take a look at it real quick, since I'm bored and I have nothing better to do with my time at the moment. So, you're still connected with the USB cord, so we can't go very far, all right? This is my computer, as you can see right here. There's a connector. This is the USB cord right there. This is USB-C to USB-C. That's the reason why that has that special port right there. And you can go ahead and see the infinity screen right there. This is my cup of tea. That's my coffee pot, headset, charger, stuff like that. Now this is USB-C to USB-A, which is very handy when I want to connect my headset here. This cheap Chinese model here. Okay, let's try to do this. Okay, yeah, cheap Chinese model here. Plug it into here. Plug it into here means I can use it in my phone. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to show you this real quick. So this right here is the altar right here. This is the altar that my wife's family and I used to go ahead and light incense for the ancestors. The picture, as shown, is the picture of my wife's grandfather. Her father's father. Yeah. So that's him right there. And then next to that is a statue of the Bodhisattva Kuan Yin. And of course, incense and stuff like that and everything else. Now, this right here is essentially the room that I'm in, and it's just a basic room. There's nothing really too special about it. Now, you see right up there, that is normally where the air conditioner would go, but there's no air conditioner in here because this is an altar room. This is not a room that people would normally use. Now, right over there, if you see closely, you'll see that there is another hookup that's meant for a fan, like a wall fan, something like that, but you put it on the wall there. To go ahead and put it on the wall, you go ahead and flip the switch over there and it turns on, or you use a remote, click, and you go ahead and, turn it on, stuff like that. Hopefully, if I ever get some money, I'll go ahead and get that done. Right here, we got some masks that we got, so we're good on masks for a bit. This stand is what I use. It's just 2 cans of formula with that right there. Now, moving on. So that's pretty much everything else right there. All right, now moving back, or moving on, I should say. So here's the thing. There we go. All right, so I have not really been using Facebook that much. I'll go ahead and drop a few comments here or there, talk to a couple of people, but that's pretty much it. See, I stopped using Facebook for a long period of time because I just got sick of it. It's not really something that I need. It's not really something that I want, but it's something that a lot of people use, and therefore I have to use it also. So it is what it is. But if there's another alternative that I could use besides Facebook that was also just as popular, I would more than likely use that too. But it is what it is. I am on Truth Social at tuxedoshadow because of the fact that I do support President Trump, and I do support him from 2016 term, 2020 term, 2024 term. I support President Trump. Now, I don't support everything he does, but I do support most of what he does. Now, just like everybody knows, I have no political affiliation, and I am not, a hardcore right winger either. I'm more of a centrist. I'm a bit conservative in some areas and a bit liberal in others. That's what I do. That's a person that I am. Now, see, I do side with a lot of what the Republicans say and with what President Trump says. And I also knew for a fact that a lot of what, President Trump has said is true. I can't exactly say that because this video is going to get flagged for misinformation and stuff like that, even though the misinformation has actually been proven to be true. So I'll let you draw your own conclusions from that. Here's the other thing. With my job hunt, I'm still looking for a job, but nothing's going to come up because I don't teach English anymore. Therefore, I'm not going to be able to get a job anymore. So I got my resume that I generated from monster.com. Yep, I'm on monster.com also. And I got my resume, generated it, and nobody wants to give me a job. So I am also on Vietnam Works. Nobody wants to give me a job because I don't want to teach English anymore. If I wanted to teach English, I'd get job offers by the thousands. But since I don't want to teach English anymore, I get nothing. I have 10 years of customer service experience, 7 years handling cash. I have experience in light industrial. I have experience in management, some management skills, even though I was never promoted to manager. I do have management skills. And from my time here in Vietnam, I know the Vietnamese labor code. So I have a very strong business ethic, very strong business sense, but yet nobody will hire me because I refuse to teach English anymore. So life here has not exactly been very easy since I decided to quit teaching English forever because of the fact that, like I said, I can't get a job. See, the difference between me and other foreigners is the fact that I want to work. I want to make money, but I'm not allowed to because I don't want to teach English. See, if I actually had the ability of a local citizen to get a job, any job that I qualify for, which is quite a lot, I'd be down there first thing in the morning and, hey, I want to work. Give me an application. But that's not how it is. Now, what kind of jobs would I take if I could take a local job? Well, that's simple. I know how to do food, so I could go ahead and work as a cook or something like that in a restaurant. Hell, I'd even go down to McDonald's and apply for a job because they got McDonald's and Burger King here, and I have experience in both. So I could easily go ahead and do that. Also, I got experience from Walmart. So I know retail inside and out. I know how to do it. I know how to do zoning. I know how to do, cashier. I know how to do stocking. I know how to do all that. It's not that hard. I could run my own Top Hua, convenience store here, grocery store. I could run my own grocery store if I had the money for it. Excuse me. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about was the how much would I need to run an English center here in Vietnam? Well, that's a very good question, and I'll tell you. See, here in Vietnam, English centers are everywhere, but 9 out of 10 of them are complete rubbish. They overwork their teachers, they don't pay them enough. Then they go ahead and screw them over with fines and, firing them for no reason and stuff like that. See, I've worked out the math, and in order to have an English center, just one, you would have to have at least 3 million USD, $3 million to operate for a period of 5 years. Now, any economist will tell you that it takes at least 5 years, if not more, for a business to become profitable. Also, the things you have to consider are, salary for staff and stuff like that. But the very first thing you have to think about is the building itself. Do you want to rent or do you want to own? I chose to own because if you own, that means you don't have to pay leasing, rent, or anything like that. You just pay a one-time fee, get your building constructed, and that's it. Now, the type of building I selected was a tube house, a Vietnamese tube house that has at least 3 floors on it. Now, you can buy a house like that brand new for about 250,000 USD, or about, I think it's like 5-6 billion dong. So once you buy that, it's a one-time fee. That's that. Next, you have to have insurance. No idea how much insurance is per year on a house or a business because it would be technically classified as a business, so it would probably be more expensive. So you'd have to have insurance on that as well. Then after that, you have to pay utilities, such as water, electric, stuff like that. There's no gas because here in Vietnam, gas is only used for cooking. Maybe in the northern regions, they use it for heating, but here in the south, because I live in Ho Chi Minh City, that it is only used for cooking, and that's it. I have to drink a lot of tea because, talk a lot, you go ahead and get the dry throat. Anyways, so gas here in Vietnam is only used for cooking. So beyond that, you go ahead and so you have your utilities, internet. Internet is only 3 million dong per year for internet service. That's actually a really good deal. Now, last time I checked, I think 3 million dong is maybe like 200 USD, something like that, for a whole year of service. Most people pay that per month in the United States, depending on how many lines you have, what your speed is, if it's business class or residential class, because business class internet is a lot faster than regular residential use because the load is a lot more extreme. So you have your building, you have your insurance on your building, you have your utilities, you have your internet, you have everything you need. What's next? Well, then you have to go ahead and pay for office furniture, computers, and things like that. Once you're done with the office furniture, computers, and everything else, decorations and such, that's when you start hiring people. Now, technically, what you should do before you start hiring people is you get your signs made up, like your business sign that talks about, this is an English center and stuff like that, where you put it up where everybody can see it on the outside, like a regular business, Then you start hiring people. So here in Vietnam, you have to follow very specific rules when hiring people for an English center. You have to follow specific rules when hiring the director, the vice director, as well as managers and other staff. So what I'd want to do with 3 million USD, besides all that, is hire a director, a vice director, an accountant, because we will need an accountant to go ahead and, do finances and stuff like that. Also, 3 office staff, 1 for me as an assistant, and then 2 to go ahead and run general office activities such as calling parents, calling schools, stuff like that. And also, we would have to have a budget for at least 2 English teachers. 2. And that's it. Because as long as we have at least 2 English teachers and we can pay them a salary for 5 years, we'll be golden. Because no matter what, we'll always have 2 teachers. So, hire the teachers, look at the paperwork, interview them, see that their skills are indeed what they say they are. They get hired. Company pays for work permit, TRC, and everything else because that's company's responsibility. And then person gets hired. We match them with a school. We match them with classes and go from there. After that, we go ahead and start paying for the kids themselves because of the fact that for every kid you want to teach at an English center, you have to pay 20 million dong. The English center has to pay 20 million dong per kid that will be taught at that center. So if you go ahead and say you're going to teach 100 kids, okay, that means you would have to pay 200 million dong, or no, wait, 2 billion dong. Yeah, 2 billion dong is what you would have to pay in fees for, 100 kids so that they can be taught at your school. Then you have to pay administration fees, business licensing fees, stuff like that, and that's an extra 15,000 USD. Then after that, you have to go ahead and let's see. So we covered building, insurance on the building, utilities, internet, staffing, uh, other stuff. Now, the rest of the money, if there's anything left over, which I don't think there should be, it'd be in a general fund to be used if necessary. Now, my salary itself wouldn't be that high because I wouldn't want a high salary. I'd want maybe 60 million USD net a month, which is like 85 or 86 million dong gross. The reason why I want 60 million dong is because to me that's a comfortable salary. That's something I can live on, and that's something I can provide for my family. Now, as far as English teachers and promotions go, in my center, once it actually becomes a center, because see, right now I have the coalition, which is right here. When the coalition grows and we get more funding, then it turns into an English center. When it turns into an English center at that point, then I can go ahead and start promoting English teachers from public school to the English center itself. And if they want to juggle both jobs, they're more than welcome to do so. But the thing is, though, I know for a fact that if a teacher works more than 20 hours a week, they're going to get burnout very, very quickly. So they would have to sign a waiver saying that they understand that there will be burnout involved if they, go at it like that. But if they want to earn money, that's perfectly fine. My center believes in promoting from within. So we'd rather promote from within first before we have to hire outside people. And then someday, when the center grows even more to include a board of directors, then we can go ahead and start promoting foreigners to the board of directors to where it'll be a healthy mix of local and foreign staff, young and old, male, female, stuff like that, inclusive and diverse. Now, with my center, I know I've talked about it before, it's just a dream right now. But in my center, I would only go ahead and hire people and promote people that actually deserve it, regardless of nationality, regardless of skin color, regardless of religion or anything else. I'd only promote people that should be promoted based solely off of ability and qualifications. That's it. So if someone that has dark skin, brown skin, they come to me, they want a job, they will get a job and they will get the exact same rate as those with lighter skin tones. Everybody gets paid the same. Now, people are saying, well, the other English centers and the public schools, they pay native speakers a lot higher than non-native speakers. Well, as I've said before, native and non-native are racist terms because of the fact that it denotes white skin versus dark skin. Now, what I would do with my center with situations like that is very simple. Because we go ahead and collect, this center will collect from public schools, private schools, parents of students, stuff like that. First things first is that all the money we get would go into a general fund, another general fund, for salary. And then from that, all the teachers we have get paid the same. So even if they pay, say, 500,000 dong for a native speaker and 400,000 dong for a non-native speaker, the average is that everyone will get 450 an hour. And the reason why that is that everybody gets paid the same. Male, female, people with light skin, people with dark skin, everybody gets paid the exact same. Now people are like, well, if everybody gets paid the same, there's no incentive, to do well. There's no incentive to get promoted, stuff like that. You're wrong. There is an incentive because of the fact that, as I mentioned, if people can prove themselves to me that they know what they're doing and they're professional, they will be promoted and I will find a position for them to do. See, with my English center, the way I want to do things is simple. First, you have your entry-level English teachers. These are the ones that come in fresh off the street, and you already have to have 3 years of experience so you can get hired on. At least 3 years. Now, if they work for me for at least a year, they can be promoted to the next step, which is a senior English teacher. Senior English teacher will have both administrative duties and teaching abilities or teaching hours. And then if they want to become permanent staff, a step above senior teacher, then that means they will be solely doing office work and or field work, where I may have them go to a school and observe teachers, make sure they're doing everything right, make sure they're wearing the proper clothes, make sure they're doing this, that, and the other, make sure they're not doing this, that, or the other, and make sure that they're wearing a mask and that they, and that they go ahead and follow the rules. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about real quick was the fact that a lot of people will go ahead and say, as far as the coalition contract goes, they will say things like, oh, well, your contract's not legal. Your contract's not legal. I know that. I know it's not legal. Not yet, anyways. But someday when I have a company, I will use that contract as a basis for writing the employment contracts as well as a actual legal contract at that point. So, yeah, for right now, I know that the contract's not legal, but it will be someday. So, yeah. And I will expect all the teachers under my command to follow those rules to a T, because if they don't, then they will be put through proper disciplinary procedures before having their employment terminated. So right now it's already at 46 minutes. Looks like I've chatted long enough. Just to let everyone know, this is the cheap Chinese headset that I use. It actually does work for the most part. What else? Let's see. What else can I talk about real quick? Oh yeah, in case people didn't know, they actually do have Popeyes here in in Vietnam, right here. And these are the prices for the sandwiches and stuff like that that they go ahead and have. So yeah, they have Popeyes, they have Burger King, they have KFC. These are foreigner restaurants, but at the same time, they're staffed by locals. But not a lot of people can afford it. So that's the reason why you don't see a lot of McDonald's or anything else out in the sticks. All right, so as far as anything I've said in this video, any missteps in my speech, I do apologize for that. Sometimes I think one word and something else comes out of my mouth. So if that happened during this video, I do sincerely apologize. That's just how I think and how my brain operates. Again, I think of one word, what comes out of my mouth is something completely different. And if that happened during this video, I do sincerely apologize for that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and try and end this video before this hour is up. If you want to go ahead and, make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment on my videos. Make sure to go ahead and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I come up with new videos. If you want to donate, send me an email to tuxedoshadow@gmail.com. Subject line, I want to donate, and I'll be more than happy to go ahead and tell you how you can do that. I can't post bank information on YouTube or Facebook because they don't allow it. But if you want to go ahead and donate, please do. Now, if you want to keep your donation anonymous, that's fine. If you want me to tell people that you donated, that's fine too. If you want to send me a donation within Vietnam, I do accept local bank transfer. If you have a bank account and you can send me an international bank transfer, I accept that too. But remember, if you send me an international bank transfer, there will be a fee attached to that, which is like 3% of the total price plus 2%, something else. So factor in at least 5 to 10% of what you're sending me will go out in fees. So really do need donations. And I know I've said that before and I say it again. I need donations badly because I need to buy stuff for my family. I need to buy stuff for my daughter, Denara. She's 19 months old. She still needs diapers, formula, clothes, shoes, stuff like that. And my wife needs female items, clothes, stuff like that. See, for myself, I don't want much, but for my family, I want everything. And that's the reason why I'm asking all of you out there who see this video and all my other videos, please consider donating. Well, that'll be the end of this video. So, again, please consider donating. Have a good day, be safe, and I will see you again soon.